Hi, today we have a very special guest called Tebogo. He's an accountant, the CEO of TMMBS. He's also a text or a compliance, an expert in compliance. We're going to be talking about his journey in entrepreneurship, what he has been doing all along, and what he's doing now. I hope you're going to be enjoying this. So, Tebo, welcome.
Tebs, thank you for having me, my brother.
Thank you so much for being here. Let's get right to it, my brother.
Okay.
Who is Tebo? What do you do? And how have you been helping your clients?
Tsapo Musiedi is a young man from Kagiso, born and bred at Kagiso, an award-winning entrepreneur. I'm also the CEO, as you mentioned, the CEO of TMMBS, which is a consulting firm that provides accounting, auditing, taxation, human resource and advisory services. Some of our major accounts are Batu, Makosa, and your Pick and Pay markets.
Sure.
Yourself included.
Yes. But now,
Yeah.
Tebo, you've done really a great job, my brother, in terms of, you are doing our compliances, you are doing so many clients, you're working with so many clients.
Yeah.
But how does someone from Kagiso, because you grew up in Kagiso, I also grew up in Kagiso.
Yeah.
So how does someone from Kagiso go all the way to working with all these big brands? What happened there? What was the shift? How did that happen?
I think for me, I've always had that, mindset where, I always wanted to achieve greater things. Starting business at age 16, as a dustbin cleaner. Already when I was doing that, I was already seeing myself in like a corporate suit, in a corporate environment. I saw myself as a successful person, so already then my mindset changed. So I knew then and there to say I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So all along the 12 years in business, this is where, 12 years in business, this is where I wanted to be. But I think I haven't reached my pinnacle. So there's still more that I'm going to do.
But now, all the way from you going to school and then graduating, why didn't you go work? What happened there? What was the thing that said, you know what, even though there's people that are graduating and working, you're not going to do that. Why?
So for me, I was privileged. Matriculated 2009, 2010, I went to UJ applying for accounting. So they said, we don't have any space for accounting. We can take you for LLB. And I was like, I don't want LLB. So I'll take a gap year. So fortunately, I did good in my academics. My accounting was like, I passed my accounting in flying colors. So I managed to get a job as a bookkeeper. 2010. So I was working as a bookkeeper running my business. 2010, got a working experience 1 year. 2011, I went to UJ to study accounting. And then fortunately, I got to work for a construction company doing bookkeeping as well. So by the time I graduated, I had 5 years experience of work. So I already knew that if I go to a board, so I registered, after that I registered as a tax practitioner. So I knew if I have 5 years experience and I have a qualification, I can go to a board, register as one of their members, and then I can start my own business. So already in that 5 years, I was working, running a business and studying. So I accumulated a lot of experience, and I didn't see myself going to corporate because already I had experience from working. So I think what also influenced me is that when I was still working, before I left my job, I was managing the company when we were making a turnover of like 80 million already. So for me, it was that thing of saying, if they can trust me to manage this company at 22 that's making 80 million, I can do a lot myself.
In your own company.
So I was like, okay. So they know I want to be an entrepreneur anyway. They gave me good 4 years. The other year was when I was working as a bookkeeper at a firm. And I was like, I think I'm fit enough to start something from scratch. I was young, I had nothing to lose. So for me, it was that thing. I think this is the right time to start.
Wow. Yeah. And because now it's interesting that you started while you were working.
Whilst I was studying.
Whilst you were studying. Yes. But now, how important is it? Because a lot of people will want to get into entrepreneurship after they get fired, or they want to get into entrepreneurship after they lose their job, and they think maybe in 10 years' time I need 20 years experience. After 20 years, I'll start being an entrepreneur. how important is it to start regardless of the fact that you're not there yet, or you don't have the finances, or you don't have this or that?
Yeah, I think for me, that's a tricky question. But for me, I think I was fortunate that I started at age 16.
Yeah.
So by then, I fell in love with entrepreneurship. And I was washing 25 dustbins a day, charging 10 rands a dustbin.
Yeah.
So I used to make 250 rands a day. In a month, I'd make 1,000 rand. But when there was like 5 Wednesdays, I was excited because I was making 1,250. And I was only working once a week. So for me, it was like, this is where I want to go. Because I knew there were people who were actually earning the 250 rands a week.
Yeah.
And I was making that a day.
Yeah.
So from then and there, like I was just saying, I'm going for entrepreneurship. So that's why it was always easy for me to say, even when I work, here's my passion, it's entrepreneurship. Yeah. Here I'm taking experience. Here, this is what I love doing. So I can just say it always starts for just to give an advice, it always starts as a side hustle. Find your passion, go somewhere else, get experience. And when you start your passion, you can push it as a side hustle until what you're making in your side hustle is equivalent to what you're earning. So that's when I left, that's what happened.
Yeah.
My business was making me the same amount that I'm earning, and I was like, now it's my time to leave.
And I've seen it with a lot of people that start a business. They will start a business. 2 months later, they want to leave their job, and the job has been paying for a lot of things. But now they don't know where they're going to get the money to pay for all those things that the job was paying for. And it's quite good that you actually did entrepreneurship while you were working, and then only after
then I'm getting to it. But that's something that I'm also going to address in my book. Because most of
I heard about that. Tell us more about the book.
So I'm writing a book this year. It's all about startup entrepreneurs. I always wished that, there was someone to guide me, tell me what is it that I'm going to experience when I get into entrepreneurship full time. Because where I was working, they gave me, I got a car, I was getting petrol allowance. I didn't know how much a service is, because when my car breaks down, I just take it to work, they fix it. So for me, it was like, I got everything easy. Any car that I wanted to drive, it was there, I would take it. So I was very comfortable until I got into now pushing entrepreneurship full time. And it was very, very difficult, So for me, the book is all about that to say, when you start as a startup entrepreneur, these are the things that you must expect, along the way. So that's what I wished for, and I'm going to put it in the book,
The book. When is it coming out? I can't wait for the release.
I'm going to announce next month.
But you're gonna announce it first with us, and we're gonna put it out first, and then
So next month I'm going to introduce the name of the book, as well as the release date.
Here's something else that I'm really, really interested in. A lot of companies, they start off, and then along the way they fail in terms of compliance. How do you help people with compliance? How difficult, how important is compliance in the first place? And what can you say about compliance, and why did you choose compliance as something that you want to focus on a lot with a lot of startup entrepreneurs?
I think just to start with the first question, compliance is very important in a sense that it helps companies with accurate reporting. It also helps companies with growth. So accurate reporting, I'm talking about your P&L. So you'll be able to determine if you're making a profit or a loss. You'll be able to determine whether you'll be able to execute your expansion plan or not. Because most of the time you get people just wanting to execute expansion plans, but they don't have the historical analysis of the performance of the business. So that's where the problem.
Let's start here. Before we even get there, what exactly is compliance? What is compliance? What does that mean to say I am compliant?
Okay. Basically, compliance, I can just make practical examples. So it's like when you register a company with CIPC, the first thing is that after a year of registering the company, you have to submit your annual returns to CIPC so that your company can be active. You go 3 years without submitting it, they put it on the deregistration process. As well as if you go more than 5 or 6 years, they deregister the company, meaning it's inactive. But if you submitting your annual returns every year, it means now you are compliant. So that's one practical example for CIPC. Now we go to SARS. So when you register a business, automatically they allocate the tax number to you. So when they allocate the tax number to you, you have to submit annual returns, whether the company is trading or not, but you still have to submit annual returns. Obviously, if the company is trading, we have to prepare financial statements for you. If the company is not trading, we'll have to just submit nil returns for you. But it is important that you submit the tax returns, because if you don't submit the tax returns, SARS will take it as if your company is dormant. And now what do? They deregister your tax number. And then when you try and go apply for tenders and all of that, they say, give us your TCS PIN, which is your tax compliance status PIN. When they check it, it's inactive, and then you can't qualify for the tender even though you are good and you know everything is on point. Or you go to a bank. When you get to a bank, you want a loan, you want to buy a property, they'll ask you for compliance documents. That's a company registration, your tax number, they'll ask for your financial statements. If you don't have those things, you stand a chance to forfeit that loan or the bond. So those are practical examples of compliance. So compliance, that's what I was saying. It helps with accurate reporting, and also it helps with growth. Because if you are not compliant, you won't be able to access. You won't be able to access such things.
Yeah, please tell me maybe 2 or 3 things that a lot of businesses get wrong in terms of compliance, and why do so many businesses fail because of compliance? Because I've seen there has been a lot of companies that have failed because they're not compliant. What are they getting wrong, and how can someone that's listening to you actually take advantage of the fact that they know this is what can go wrong and this is what they can do right?
I think the first thing that happens is that our people don't know, especially when I say our people, I mean African people. We come from a background where there are not a lot of entrepreneurs. I can proudly say we are the first generation of African entrepreneurs. So they are not aware of compliance stuff. Like the fact that when you register a company, you need to pay CIPC annual returns. They don't know that. And that thing can be, can affect the business. Taxes. They don't know that they have to submit taxes when the company is trading. And then they only found out when 10 years later, when now SARS is coming to knock and say, we haven't received any returns, we want to audit you. When they audit them, SARS will say, this is how much you owe us. And then if you can't pay, they sequestrate some of your assets, auction them, and they pay themselves. So those are the things that, our people don't know about. But it's a thing of, not having knowledge. But again, I always tell entrepreneurs to say, the reason why a lot of our counterparts, and I'm talking about Caucasian entrepreneurs, the reason why they succeed, those people, they have lawyers at their disposal. They have financial advisors at their disposal. They have accountants at their disposal. So it's easy for them to be able to run their business properly and prosper. And for me, the first point of reference for every entrepreneur or a startup entrepreneur would be a thing of have a consultant, have an accountant on board that can be able to assist you with such things, accurate reporting, growth, and compliance. So it's very important to have those.
That's very important.
When you start, in fact,
That's where it's even more important. But now tell me this. Here's someone that wants to start a company. They just started a company. They're making, say, 100,000 each and every year, but they say accountant services are expensive. What do you say to that person? How do you change their mind to realize that this is actually not expensive compared to what can happen to them if they don't have an accountant? What are some other things that you can tell this person that's saying, the services are expensive? What do you say?
I think this is something that we're also trying to address with TMMBS. Accounting services are not really expensive. They are expensive when you have to pay a once-off after a year. So what we're trying to address is a tailor-made package, which is something that some of our business development team will be focusing on this year. So you might also get a call. So we want to make it cheaper, and then so that people can pay every month. So if you pay annually, it's going to be expensive. So we are going to tailor-make packages now. So we don't have to give you payroll and all of that if you don't have employees or you are the only one running the business. So what we're going to do is you come as Tebogo, you say to us, I need financial statements and submission of tax returns. And we say, okay, this is how much we can charge you annually. For 12 months, if you break it down in 12 months, this is how much you have to pay. So if you pay it in installments, it makes it easy for you to afford it. So it's more of something that we've noted, obviously with some of our clients complaining. So now we're trying to tailor make it and give people payment option of like 12 months.
Yeah.
You know, ahead.
Yeah.
So it is expensive, but I mean, you know,
the consequences are even more expensive.
Yeah, so the benefits are also great in terms of having me on board. There's a lot that I can advise on and assist also when it comes to growing your business. So I would say it is expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And tell me also about the Sage, because you're also working with Sage. Yes. And that's a system that's like automated. Tell me more about that and how your company actually uses the Sage in order to benefit the clients.
We partnered with Sage 2017. That's when we were nominated as finalists of 702 Small Business Awards with Sage. So we met the vice president or something like that at the awards, and then we started to partner with Sage. So with Sage, for us, it helps us with also making sure that, you know, there's accurate reporting for our clients. You know, there's always human errors, but with the system, it decreases that thing of the percentage of human error. You know, so with Sage, it's more of that. It's a bit efficient. It assists us to be efficient and to be able to submit work or do work, you know, faster than when we're doing it manually. So
and it also helps the client also to submit their work a lot more faster.
Definitely.
Than it would. Than they would if they were.
It also helps clients with invoicing. Like we have you on our Sage system. So if you wanted to issue invoices out to your clients, what we'll do, we'll give you access that allows you to invoice or code clients via Sage. So it's also the one that we use is Sage 1, which is cloud-based. So it's very nice because it's cloud-based. We are able to do a lot of things on the road instead of having a desktop application that's just sitting at the office.
I love that. And I love how you always make sure that your customers come first and you serve your customers, even though they might, whatever issues that they have, you basically try to meet them halfway and help them in their journey. And you've also helped with coaching a lot of clients, helping with not just, you know, the accounting services, but also like talks that you've done all around the country. And I really, really appreciate the service that you've been doing.
Thanks, man.
Your last words, what can you tell someone that wants to be an accountant or wants to have an accounting firm like you? What do they do and how can they start?
So basically my word of advice is that don't go against TMMBS because we're going to take you out. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I love that.
I'm just joking, man. I think for me, it's a thing of you have to love what you do. You know, you have to put in the work. A lot of people just see TMMBS and they say, oh, this guy's an overnight success, you know. And for me, it's a thing of, I started 2010, you know, working as a bookkeeper. I started running TMMBS, like as in doing like your compliance and business development in like 2013. And I only registered it 2016 where I was a tax practitioner and my partner is a chartered accountant, 2016. And only 3 years later from 2016, that's when we reap the rewards. So we only reaping the rewards after 3 years, but for me, I'm only reaping the rewards after 6 years. So, and there's a 10-year longevity of me working in the accounting firm, and I have 12 years again being in entrepreneurship. So you can understand the journey. So it don't happen overnight. That's what I would advise. Love what you do. It don't happen overnight. Put in the work always. And yeah, man, have associates like Debs.
Thank you so much for this, my brother.
You're welcome.
I hope everyone that was listening or that is listening will benefit a lot from this interview. And I look forward to having you again.
Of course, I'll come, man.
Thank you so much.